What is up, everybody? Hope you're all doing well. I'm super excited to share this video with you guys for two reasons. One is the fact that I have a new microphone to pick up my voice. Hopefully you can hear that. It's an Audio-Technica AT897, I think is the name of it. It's up here, you can see it though, but again, hopefully you can hear it. So please let me know if it's an improvement from before. I used to use my camera, you know, the mic on my phone, which isn't really the best. So this should be a major improvement. I haven't really messed around with it too much, so this video is a little bit of an experiment in terms of that. But the second thing I'm really excited about is the groove that I just showed you guys, which is pretty much my all-time favorite groove, like based between just the hi-hat and the snare, that kind of intricate kind of stuff, which when you break it down, is really simple. Like, it's just this one sticking that goes all around and around, and that's the 6-stroke roll. And I hope you guys are comfortable with, or familiar rather, with the 6-stroke roll. If you're not familiar with the 6-stroke roll, I'll show you right now what it is. Basically, it's a pattern of 6 strokes, as the name implies. And for this example, or for this groove rather, we're going to play those 6 strokes with the same amount of time in between each stroke. So that's going to give us 16th note triplets. So the sticking for the 6-stroke roll is just right, left, left, right, right, left. And for this entire groove, what we're going to want to do is we're going to accent all of the single strokes, and we're going to leave all the double strokes as ghost notes. So the whole pattern is a single stroke at the start, and then you have 2 groups of double strokes, and then you have 1 more single stroke right at the end. So play just on the hi-hat. I just play that around a couple of times, so you'll see what I mean. Accenting all the single strokes and keeping all the double strokes as ghost notes. This is what the 6-stroke roll sounds like. And a little bit faster. I can't go much faster than that. But that's going to be the main pattern that we're going to use for this entire groove. And we'll get to the bass drum and stuff later as well. That's a bit different. But for the hands, when you're playing with your hands, it's all 6-stroke roll. It's just a bit kind of cleverly placed between split up rather between the hi-hat and the snare to give it this really, like, you know, back and forth kind of feeling to it. That's really cool. I really like with this groove. So I'll just show you the two. It's 2 groups of 6-stroke rolls. So 2 6-stroke rolls, and that's going to form the entire groove. The first group is, again, same sticking all the time, right, left, left, right, right, left. The first time we're going to play the single stroke accent, so that's the first and the last stroke. We're going to play those on the hi-hats and keep everything else on the snare. So that's going to sound like this. And that's just going to be the first half of it. And then the second half, we ended the first half with our left hand on the hi-hat, so our right hand is free to go. And that's going to be an accent on the snare. And then we have 2 ghost notes on the left hand on the snare. Then we move our right hand over to the hi-hat for 2 ghost notes, and then 1 more left hand accent. So it's going to be 3 strokes on the on the snare, and then 3 strokes on the hi-hat, accenting the very first one and accenting the very last one. So that's going to sound like this. And when you put these 2 groups of 6-stroke rolls together, that you basically get the whole groove, and this is what it sounds like. And when you get to the end, just loop over, and you loop that thing right around all the time, and get it up to tempo, and that gives you the entire groove. So I'll do that and speed it up a little bit, and you'll see how that forms eventually into this kind of back and forward motion kind of thing. It's a really cool groove, and then after that, you just get your bass drum in there, and you basically have well, a solid groove out of it. So I'll show you what I mean. Starting slow and then speeding up a little bit. Yeah, you get the idea. So let's try to get the bass drum in there, and where you want to place your bass drum strokes. I won't get too much into that because I want you to experiment a little bit with that. But what I found is the best places that kind of make sense and that are a little bit easier to get the bass drum in is when you're hitting with your right hand, because combining your bass drum with your left hand, if you're right hand lead player, is going to be a little bit tricky, especially in an intricate groove like this. So I'll just play the way that I like to do it, and you'll kind of see what I mean. But again, I encourage you to experiment with the bass drum and try to move it around within this groove and kind of see what you come up with. But I'll just play the full groove again, and after that we'll call it a day for this video. And I hope you guys will have a ton of fun with this groove, and I encourage you guys to try to do this kind of thing where you take a sticking or a rudiment that you're already familiar with and try to orchestrate it in different places and get the bass drum in and place the accents differently and try to form grooves out of it, because that's how I came up with this. And again, it's my all-time favorite groove since I first came up with it. So I hope you guys are going to have a blast with this. But now I'll just play the full groove again with the bass drum in there, and hopefully you enjoy how it sounds. So here we go.